It's a dangerous looking group. 30 seconds advantage now for what, 17, 18 riders, as Peter Sagan goes for the food. He's got to be a slightly worried man. I suspect Spain are a little bit worried as well. They've got a rider in the group up front, so too have France, but Cyril Gauthier is not perhaps their favourite rider. He certainly isn't, because Julien Alaphilippe has missed out on this one, so too Tony Galopin. And there you have the bunch stretched thin under the combined forces. As Matthias Frank goes to the front, he's got Sebastian Reichenbach for company, and the Swiss have put 2 riders in, so great opportunity for them. The checkered pattern, that's Kvasina from Croatia. Hermans is there doing a job for Belgium, doing a job too for Philippe Gilbert, his trade teammate, his national teammate. And the Netherlands have managed to put Cohen de Court in there with Sam Omen. Italians have Fabio Aru, Giovanni Visconti. Germans have Paul Voss, Paul Mertens. So they've got great options should this group go to the line. Great ability to sprint, great ability to get up that final power hill. And France are absolutely frantic. Look at the way the bunch is stretched out there. It's pure savagery here, and there's nobody holding anything back in their efforts to try and close this one down. The French squad, I think it could be Calm Jean on the front again, just trying to set the tempo. He's absolutely flat chat trying to close this one down. At the moment, it's not really working. The bunch are coming through the feed zone. I don't think too many riders are going to have time to grab bottles, maybe 1 or 2. But it's not a handy ride at the moment, is it? Because they're absolutely flying in pursuit. And he's managing to close. Well, he's holding it. He's just holding it at half a minute at the moment, Calm Jean. But this group up front really start to get their skates on. Got to be a worry.
Yeah, I would think that Spain aren't too happy there. They've got Rubio here, but with the numbers of Belgium and Italy, I think they would be wanting to get involved with the chase behind as well. But we've got 17 riders in front. Benut, Gilbert, Hermans of Belgium, Gauthier of France, Aru, Visconti and Moser of Italy, Rubio we've mentioned from Spain, de Court and Uman of the Netherlands, Voss and Mertens of Germany, Frank and Reichenbach for Switzerland, Domagalski from Poland, Legutin from Russia and Vasina from Croatia.
You got a real sense of how they're charging along, because look at that Jonathan Fumeau just trying to sketch his way back onto the back of the bunch there, because they're flying along, just rolling back and then having to make an effort just to get the last wheel in the group. It's a thinned out bunch, and it's a very select group up front, but inside the final 18 kilometers.
Belgium have to watch out here, because they have got Benut, Gilbert and Hermans, you know, 3 potential winners in here in the front group. That leaves them a couple of riders behind. We've already seen Bacalans get involved with the chase. Kukele, Van Endert has been there, Meersman has been helping out the chase. So all the time, this man here, Peter Sagan, is sitting in the wheels. So if you're putting yourself into the wind at this moment, yeah, it could go all the way to the finish, but it does look as if Slovakia, definitely in France, but I think Spain will want to get involved with this chase as well.
There must be a massive fear amongst pretty much every bike rider in there of the thought of going to the line with Peter Sagan. They don't want to go to the line with them in a bunch. They don't want to go to the line with them in a small group, even less. So I suppose getting up the road is such a major agenda. That is contributing to a very entertaining race, you'd have to say.
It is. It's going to be a fascinating final lap. You can get Tiago Machado at the front for Portugal. So Portugal, France, Spain, Slovakia all combining together, which means that these guys have to ride pretty much flat out. We can actually see Benut and Hermans doing the majority of the work, and that's what the thing that would be worrying Belgium is. Gilbert would be tiring himself out a little bit, but you can just see he's sitting down the back of the group. He's allowing Hermans and Benut to do the majority of the work.
Well, that's the thing about cycling, isn't it? If you've got a 9-rider team and you put 3 in the move, you can afford to have 1 sitting on and 2 riders really laying it all out on the line. Laying it all out on the line. It's the French squad at the moment with Bouet, I think it is, on the front, just trying to keep that group honest and get well, they got them down to 17 seconds now, so they've closed the gap significantly. It's coming down. There's not too many riders left in that bunch that are capable of really contributing to this chase. But within 16 kilometers, within 10 miles of the finish line, well, the European Road Race Championships really is boiling up nicely. Italy have numbers in this group up front inside the final 16 kilometers of the European Road Race Championships. They've put 3 riders into the group: Moser, Visconti, Fabio Aru is there as well. Might fancy galloping up that finishing hill. Visconti too is a great closer, so they've got fantastic options, and Moser is going to bury himself. Perhaps even he too on a good day could be capable of putting together this finish. There's no activity in terms of those wheels turning. There's plenty of wheels turning out in the European Road Race bunch. Gvesina from Croatia just slips behind Lagutin of Russia, who's flicking elbows left and right, looking for a little bit of assistance. Down to 11 seconds.
Yeah, we can just see at the front of the peloton the gap has come down, but there's a lot of sore legs now, and it looks as if it's Italy trying to come across this group. France have kind of disappeared. So it's testing times, but it does look as if Italy, as we see, it's Moscon has made himself, probably after a bike change, made himself into the back of this group.
Gianni Moscon safely there.
It's in fact Portugal and Sergio Paulino that's bringing it eventually back. But just look at the colours at the front of the peloton, Declan, and France, because of that hard chase, have lost quite a few riders.
Looking a little bit vulnerable, the host nation. Well, there's a lot of pride at stake here, and there's a lot of extra passion that will go into the fact that the European Road Race Championships, the first time that the men's elite event has been held as the European Road Race Championship. This event, of course, dates back to 1995 as an under-23 event. Mirko Celestino getting the win on that occasion for the Italian nation. Can there be another Italian victory? They've got riders into this group up front, but it's about to come back together again, as at the back of the bunch, there's a few sore legs. Ludvigsson for Sweden among them, and riders be a little bit concerned about their opportunities of staying involved. Moscon is trying to fight his way back into contention, but riders are starting to let the wheel go on this climb. Hermann's on the front now. Matthias Frank from Switzerland behind him. And this climb, well, it is the penultimate time up the Cadudal. 1,800 meters of pain and suffering, and it's never going to hurt as much as it has this time. It's never going to hurt as much as it will next time round. What a shift that he's putting in, but unfortunately for the riders in this breakaway group, well, I suppose they can at least take some comfort in the fact that there's nobody has got a free ride here, and if you're in this group, you're clearly one of the stronger men.
Yes, that was apparent the last time up, but there'll be a few nations, have a sign of relief at the moment, because it has been brought back. We're coming up to the finishing line where there'll be one more lap of this course to go, and Hermann's still pushing hard in the front. He wants to make it difficult, but Sergio Paulino for Portugal was the rider that came across with Sagan on the wheel. I know they ride for the same professional team, but as I said, they're riding for separate countries now.
Well, Fabio Aru sitting in third position. He's anxious, isn't he? He just wants to remain alive to any counter-attack that happens. The bunch are all together. Hermann's from that move, just leading them up and keeping it, keeping the intensity there. The crowd have massed and are starting to bang the boards in appreciation. Where's the next attack coming from? Well, Aru is on the wheel of Matthias Frank as they race through to take the bell in the European Road Race Championships. Just 13.7 kilometers left. What have they got left in the legs? It's a very small bunch now that is still in contention. Frank with a few meters advantage. And there is the picture of pain and suffering, and then out into the bay. Well, it's all is calm. Morbihan coast That little spur to the northwest of France. That's where we are. If you can picture the map in mind's eye. And now it's Moser that has headed off the front. Belief Ferry from Frank, and here we get a replay. Nicely timed. And he gets the gap immediately and knows that it's time to ride. Brief respite. And Moser with decent little advantage, but he's definitely going to need someone to come across to him.
You would think so. Still too many teams want to put this up down to a sprint or an effort in the last lap, but he was in the right place, just instinctively decided to go for it, kind of hanging off the front. You know, he has to commit himself. It's, you know, it's working out for Italy. They still have a couple of options behind. They've ridden a good race, but I cannot see that Moreno Moser will go to the finish on his own. And you know, with Belgium willing to ride and commit themselves, I think it's going to be very difficult for one rider to hold the whole peloton off.
Well, he's absolutely flying form, and I tell you what, if anyone could hold him off, it's perhaps Moreno Moser, because he was the bronze medalist in the individual time trial just a couple of days ago. Jonathan Castroviejo getting that title at last for the Spanish team. Victor Camponert's second on that occasion for Belgium, but Moreno Moser already a medalist at these European Road Championships, likes to go solo. A couple of years ago he was well, the next big thing, wasn't he? We expected a little bit more from him. Took the overall win in the Tour of Poland back in 2012 and Strade Bianche. Do you remember that win in 2013? We thought he was really going to break through. Hasn't quite happened yet. No, and it has been a good attack. So it's 1 against 1. He's holding it 10 seconds. Moreno Moser from Italy on the attack, but it's Belgium just putting one rider up towards the front. And you know, I think that if there are teams that want to put this down to a sprint, they have to start looking after their sprinters. And you know, from what we've seen, Tony Galopin's there, Alaphilippe is there, Gilbert. We've seen Wout Poels for the Netherlands. He has to go long in this climb. He cannot wait for a sprint, so he has to go long. But it's still Ben Hermans, Luis Leon Sanchez in the right hand side as well, Rui Costa and Peter Vakoc, Peter Sagan. They're all still in here. They're all in it to win it, and Moreno Moser, well, he's put himself into the position of maximum opportunity. It's a bit of an ask. He's 10.5 kilometers to go. What's he going to need at the bottom of the hill? Will he still be up front when they get to the bottom of the hill? Surely there's going to be a response before that. He's still increasing his advantage, steals a look over his left shoulder, and gets the good news that his lead is starting to stretch a little bit, as the Spanish squad put riders on the front. Going to set the tempo, make sure that they keep this one as honest and as controlled as possible. Moreno Moser, inside the final 10 kilometers of the European Road Race Championships, is on the front and bidding for glory for himself and for Italy, as the Belgian squad continue to set the tempo. Spain and Belgium, they've got the numbers, they've got the strength, they've got the desire. Italy playing a watching brief. They've got a rider up front and they mass towards the front, as now the teams are starting to get themselves organised. Who's going to have what it takes? Is this one going to come down to a sprint? Will they close down this man who's increased his advantage now to 20 seconds and is giving himself a fighting chance of at least making it to the bottom of that final hill in front of the field in the European Championships?
Well, Ben Hermans has done his job and just drifting back on the right hand side, which leaves Spain and one rider. Just can't see him behind the tall figure of Spain at the front, but it does look as if Spain could be thinking of you know, their opportunity, you know, whether it's Moreno, whether it's Barbero still in there. Barbero is a very good sprinter for Spain, but 2 against 1, but he's still holding out there. It's Jan Bakelans is the rider. Albacini also still in the mix.
Well, Ben Hermans has drifted, as you say, to the back of the bunch. He knows, and he doesn't owe Belgium anything at this point, but if he can come back in, he'll try. The Albanian rider, well, he's been ever prominent, hasn't he, throughout this? What a great effort. And they've Brought two-man team. Banushi and Halilaj we saw earlier on. Not sure which one of the two of those it was. A brief appearance at the front.
We just see France have got Alaphilippe right up there, but it's Bacalans, and you see the white jerseys of Italy just doing a policing move, just making sure Visconti is Naru right up there. They're just doing a policing move, making sure that any attacks, anything goes, that they're just going to jump onto it.
Well, Bacalans was trying for his own ambitions a little earlier on. Now he has changed tack a little bit, and he's setting the tempo on behalf of the Belgian team, making sure that Moreno Moser doesn't get too far up the road, making sure that Belgium, I suppose, they will accept responsibility as one of the leading and one of the strongest nations in there, with 9 riders taking to the start line. Well, 233 kilometers were in front of them when they departed the small village of Plumelec so many hours ago. Well, now it's down to the final 7.6 kilometers. Total of 17 laps of this 13.7 kilometer circuit, and now we're down to the final half of that final lap. Dan Martin, you see, moving up on the right hand side in the green of Ireland. It's the blue of Belgium though on the front, and behind the white and blue of Italy, just watching and waiting, because Moser is doing a great job for himself and a great job for the Italian team. Yeah, and
there has to be numbers from other teams trying to come up and helping out, because it's 1 against 1, and it's going to hang there about 20 seconds. They need some, Belgium needs some help, and everybody's sitting back at the moment. Where is France? Creeping up to 26 seconds now. So looking all the time better for Moser. If he hits the bottom of this climb with this sort of advantage, I think he can hang on. But other teams are still waiting, and they have to commit if they want to win this race.
His most famous win, of course, was Strade Bianche a few years ago, and not an entirely dissimilar finish. It was climb up to the finish line, maybe a little bit steeper, maybe a little bit shorter, but he can, on his day, retain the strength to climb a finishing hill and have enough to hold off a group behind. And that is a select group. That's not exactly a big bunch, is it, that's going to contest this one. Sitting at the back and watching for Germany, Paul Voss has a useful kick when he needs it. Paul Mertens, number 52, just to his right-hand side, an even faster kick. So Germany have options on this finishing climb, finishing sprint for these riders of this ability. There's a look, there's a leaf in the bottom jockey wheel. Don't think that's going to be causing too much extra friction, and not really a major issue for Moreno Moser. We're heading into autumn, and there's the evidence. Cute, really, isn't it? Not an issue for Moreno Moser, because well, he's opened up his advantage now to half a minute. Spain have decided to get going. They need to try and chase this one down. As well they might. Jan Bacalans too. Still the advantage grows. 31 seconds, inside 6 kilometers to go. He'll hit the bottom of the hill, and that ticker will say 1.8 kilometers remaining. So he's got 4K to the foot of the finishing climb. What's he got left in the tank? It's a brave effort from Moreno Moser. What sort of advantage does he need, Brian?
I think he's got the advantage needed or required to take the win here. You've got Belgium and Spain just putting 1 rider each. Other nations just sitting back, thinking that they're going to be, they're going to bring them back. But France, this is slowly disappearing away from them. Okay, there's still 2 medals, but with 32 seconds, I believe that Moreno Moser, with that form, can very much take this title today. The 25-year-old from Italy, he's in a very good place. He got bronze in the time trial, so we know he's got a very good form, but all he needs is this half-a-minute advantage, and he could go all the way.
5 kilometers left. 5 kilometers of pain and suffering at the end of it. It could be joy for Moreno Moser. It could be well worth persevering with. He's not going to give up now. He's going to charge along as best he can. Moreno Moser, a man with a famous name, making a name for himself on the roads of France this afternoon. Now, Moreno Moser has the all-important half-a-minute advantage that he's going to need. If he has that at the foot of the finishing hill, who knows? Moreno Moser, 25 years of age. It's a narrow advantage. Half a minute to the good inside the closing stages of the European Road Race Championships. And the man from Team Cannondale, that's his trade team. The man from Italy, more particularly today, is racing to glory in the European Road Race Championships. The first time they've been held as an elite event for men. And now, well, the French are starting to panic a little bit, as well they might. It's a little bit of concern.
They have to get involved. Gautier has come back to the front, and that's what we're saying. With about 30 seconds advantage for Moser, the race was going away unless other teams came up to the front. And we now see Peter Sagan on the front. Gautier is there. They know that there's a danger. Thijs Benoot has been forced into helping out. David de la Cruz came up for Spain as well. So they recognise that Moser is a quality bike rider, and they have to start chasing a little bit harder now if they want to try and take this gold medal.
Well, that's a sense of frustration. It's a sense of anxiety and worry, isn't it? Because Peter Sagan just dive bombs down the inside, says, I can carry a little bit more speed through that corner. I just want to add a tiny bit of impetus to this chase. And it was Cyril Gautier left frantically trying to close the gap, his face contorted, not unlike this man. Moser's advantage now down to 20 seconds. It's looking nip and tuck. 3.3 kilometers remaining. He's going to need all of this and perhaps a little bit more at the bottom of that hill. So you would worry for him, but Moreno Moser, well, he's not going to ask anyone what the gap is at the moment. As long as he's out front, he'll be pushing. They spread wide across the road. That's good news for Moser. Will it allow him to increase his advantage? And these are the little leg softeners that come before the finish. The Polish team have strength in numbers. They've been ever present on the front throughout the day. Domagalski doing great work as Peterski managed to make it into this selection. They've got at least 3 riders up there, and they know that they need to use those numbers to try and chase this one down. 15 seconds.
Well, it did need other teams to come up to the front because unfortunately for Belgium and France and Spain, they were depleted in numbers and they weren't bringing Moser back, and it has been the input from some fresher riders, some of the riders like Benoot, and now the Polish riders coming towards the front. So with that, it means that with a tenuous lead of only 13 seconds, just going into 2 kilometers to go, I'm not too sure. The effort now being put in by Moser, I don't think it's happening for him today now.
Just trying to pick it out, whether it's Golas or whether it's actually Biabowski that's sitting in second position there. But Poland have numbers, and they have got legs, and they've got strength. They're starting to peel off the front now as they realize that the end is in sight. The end is in sight too for Moreno Moser. He's got 10-second advantage as we hit the foot of the finishing climb. The bunch just behind will also start to feel the gradient grip, and now Moreno Moser looks around, and he won't look around again because he's going to just suffer as much as he can, try and retain as much cadence as he can, and try and keep it in as big a gear as he possibly can. 1800 meters at 8%. Well, he knows all about it. There's no one in this bike race that doesn't know this hill intimately. This is their 17th and final ascent in the European Road Race Championships, and we're into the closing stages as we see the salvos coming off the front. Looks like Frank has tried a late attack. Matthias Frank, who was in that attack a little while ago. And Matthias Frank has just fired a little bit before the big guns. They're all massing around the right and left of the group. Spain go to the front now. Could it be Rubio?
This is Villela trying to come across for Italy now. He realises that Moreno's suffering out there, so David Villela trying to come across to not only his countryman but also his teammates at Cannondale.
Davide Vieira replaces his fellow countryman Moreno Moser. Brave bid by Moser not to be, although he is still sitting in second place. I'll tell you what, Vieira has a little bit of a lead. Will he be able to hang on?
Doesn't look it because the Vuelta stage winner David de la Cruz is right there, and he's gone Danny Moreno for company on his wheel. So it does look as if Spain are riding for Danny Moreno. Then you've got Rui Costa, Peter Sagan, so into the last kilometre now.
Sagan sitting fourth in line, and they're just watching and watching and watching. The gradient will start to ease ever so slightly, but still it's pretty grippy, and they're spread wide across the road as Dan Martin moves up as well on the right-hand side, and to his left, the riders and the top riders from the European Road Race Championships can see glory in front. They can see Davide Vieira in front. Nobody wants to fire first. There's still a long way to go, and Vieira hanging on to a handy lead.
Yeah, and you just see coming up as well, you've got Gianni Meersman for Belgium. But they have to close this down a little bit. This is, you know, David Vieira is hanging in there, and you know, he's very capable of going the whole way if they don't start a reaction, and the reaction now coming from Belgium.
Well, what about that from Ben Hermans? He looked out on his feet a little while ago. He's done an immense amount of chasing, and he's trying to make sure that Philippe Gilbert stays in decent position. So too Gianni Meersman, who starts to light it up on the front for Team Belgium, and also there in good shape, it's Vakoc. This is a finish made for him. Meersman will be the first to make it across to Vieira. Brave effort, but not to be. Look at Peter Sagan sitting 6th or 7th in line. Rui Costa is there or thereabouts as well. And going for the line, Gianni Meersman from Belgium has... For Spain, going for it is Danny Moreno. Danny Moreno, can he roll back the years? Sitting on his wheel is Peter Sagan. Peter Sagan is sitting second. Is that for France? Has to be Alaphilippe. Alaphilippe is third in line, and here comes going on the opposite side of the road for glory, Peter Sagan. Peter Sagan, no one's going to stop him. All too easy in the end up. Peter Sagan can hardly believe it. It all came back to him absolutely perfectly. And look at the strength that he has. He had strength to spare there. He just went to the other side of the road, had several bike lengths advantage, and Peter Sagan had time to just savor that moment, because he is not just the World Road Race Champion, but now the European Road Race Champion.
We've just seen it lighting up now, and he just followed Danny Moreno at this moment from Spain. Alaphilippe was there, Rui Costa, Vakoc. They swept past the Belgian rider. Sam Dumoulin also in the mix coming up in the right-hand side. But at this stage, the favourite had to be Peter Sagan, and he just looks between his legs. He sees some bike wheels, accelerates. No one else can react to that. He looks around, nice and easy. Alaphilippe close between himself and Danny Moreno for the silver and bronze, but that looked just so easy for Peter Sagan there. So easy.
Well, he played the waiting game to absolute perfection, but he had strength to burn in the finale, and